Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a pretty wild case study in modern tech. We're looking specifically at why Meta is getting some absolutely catastrophic publicity for one of their most advanced products. We're going to unpack how their new AI-powered smart glasses literally went from this beautiful utopian dream to a complete, full-blown PR nightmare. I mean, seriously, how does a life-altering medical breakthrough end up banned by the government and universally labeled perfect glasses? It sounds completely impossible, right? Well, that's exactly the massive bait-and-switch story we're unpacking today. It is honestly a masterclass in how a company can have world-changing tech, but through sheer negligence and completely misunderstanding human behavior, they manage to generate some of the worst product publicity we've seen in years. Act 1. The Utopian Promise. Okay, to really grasp the scale of this PR disaster, you've got to understand the sheer brilliance of the tech itself first. We are talking about ordinary-looking glasses using real-time, multimodal AI to synthesize visual, audio, and spatial data. Like they can read and instantly translate foreign menus. They can guide someone step-by-step through a totally unfamiliar building. Or, maybe most incredibly, they can recognize a face and quietly whisper a daughter's name into the ear of someone who hasn't been able to see faces for years. Which brings us to this incredibly important number, 2.2 billion. According to the World Health Organization, that's the estimated number of people globally living with vision impairment. For them, this isn't just a cool gadget, right? It's a profound leap forward. Using gesture-controlled neural interfaces that read electrical signals in your wrist, these glasses offered millions of people a totally unprecedented level of daily independence. That is the story that should have been on every front page. But here's where the narrative takes a really hard pivot. The intended user was a visually impaired person navigating the world with dignity. The actual user? Well, almost immediately, the tech was co-opted by content creators and influencers, let's be real, mostly men, using them to secretly record women in public for internet clout. The shift from a literal medical miracle to a tool for creepy behavior sparked this rapid culture collapse for the entire product. Act 2. The culture collapse. So the core design premise of Meta's smart glasses was to make them look exactly like ordinary Ray-Bans. The only physical indicator that the 12-megapixel camera is active is this tiny, incredibly subtle LED light. By prioritizing a sleek aesthetic over obvious privacy guardrails, Meta made it way too easy to film people without consent. And as it turns out, users were easily bypassing even that tiny safeguard. People were literally paying modders on Reddit $50 to disable or paint over the LED light. So suddenly you're secretly harvesting faces for content with zero warning to the public. This total lack of physical security led straight to extortion attempts, class action lawsuits accusing Meta of lying about privacy features, and that devastating, inescapable nickname, pervert glasses. When you look at the timeline of events, you can see just how fast this backlash snowballed. We go straight from a glitzy product launch right into covert filming for content, which then triggers the extortion and lawsuits, all ending in universal public shaming. The bad publicity got so intense and the cultural identity of the glasses got so toxic that actual paying customers started leaving their $1,000 hardware on their nightstands just out of pure embarrassment. Consider what freelance video producer Will Kujawa said about this. He mentioned the comments on his posts were so hostile that he abandoned the glasses entirely. I mean, think about that. Buying this product essentially signed you up for community-led social trial, where you were treated as a suspected supervillain. No one is going to wear a gadget that makes everyone around them instantly uncomfortable. Act 3. Bans and PR disasters. Because this bad publicity didn't just stay in internet comments sections, it quickly jumped into real-world institutional bans. 1,240, that is the exact number of New York State courthouses that outright banned these smart glasses. Even if they just had your everyday prescription lenses in them, you had to hand them over to a uniformed guard. Royal Caribbean banned them from restrooms and children's areas on all their ships. Wisconsin and Pennsylvania put partial bans in place, and Illinois even started looking at banning them while driving. And honestly, one specific incident brilliantly illustrates just how wildly out of touch Meta was with the optics of their own product. While Mark Zuckerberg was testifying in a trial about social media harms, members of his own security detail actually wore the Meta Ray-Bans right into the courtroom. The judge literally had to stop and issue a warning about recording the jury. I mean, it's like showing up to a chainsaw product liability lawsuit and revving a chainsaw in the gallery just to show the judge how smoothly it idles. It is a staggering PR failure. Act 4. Meta's tone-deaf response. So, how exactly does a trillion-dollar tech giant respond to their flagship wearable being universally despised? There's a total disconnect in their strategy here. Instead of, addressing the massive surveillance panic, Meta decided to launch a $399 Kylie Jenner fashion collaboration. In response, protesters threw up holographic guerrilla ads near Meta's London HQ, comparing the glasses to the dystopian sci-fi movie They Live. When Meta finally tried to fix the camera issue, they just pushed a software patch that disables the camera if it detects the LEDs covered. Critics rightly pointed out that this is basically just a polite request. It's the engineering equivalent of slapping a wet paint sign next to a nuclear reactor. And keep in mind, we're getting this from a company with a reported 66.8% failure rate on its own child safety systems. This question from the protest group perfectly hits the nail on the head. Billionaires could fund cures for cancer, so why are they funding glasses for perverts instead? Meta just allowed the product's cultural identity to completely cement around its absolute worst use case, way before the incredible, life-changing best use cases even had a chance to breathe in the public consciousness. And you kind of have to laugh at the dark humor here. When you have a Grammy-winning indie pop icon like Lorde shouting to a massive festival crowd that your hardware is actively not sexy and telling fans absolutely not to get them, yeah, your PR strategy has officially irrevocably failed. You just cannot market a wearable fashion accessory once society deems it a threat to human sex appeal. But the controversy actually goes even deeper. You'd think Meta would learn their lesson, right? No way. According to the source material, they are reportedly testing next-gen prototypes that remove the LED recording light entirely. They're exploring linking the camera to facial recognition across their massive database of 4 billion users, and even displaying a stranger's name on a private inland screen that only the wearer can see. So instead of fixing the problem, they are actively trying to make the surveillance even more undetectable. Act 5. The Surveillance Dilemma. We really have to step back and ask what this tech actually means for our society when it's deployed like this. It brings up this fascinating thought experiment, kind of like Dave Eggers' novel The Circle. What actually happens if absolutely everyone is recording everyone else all the time? Does it create this beautiful, polite utopia of universal accountability where bad behavior always has consequences? Or does it just create a highly stressful dystopian nightmare? Well, that polite utopia theory completely falls apart because of one crucial concept: asymmetrical surveillance. The utopian idea relies on everyone having equal power. But right now, this tech is disproportionately owned by men with disposable income who are using it to covertly film women in public without their consent. The surveillance isn't equal at all. It's a tool being used by one demographic against another. And beyond those user dynamics, you've got the corporate reality. Universal surveillance sounds democratic until you realize the democracy has a landlord. Meta is the landlord here. They control the servers, they process the AI, and they govern the terms of service. They are cataloging your visual data to feed their massive advertising machine. So it's not other accountability, it's just more power concentrated in the hands of a massive corporation. Act 6. The Cost of Lost Trust. This is where we really have to reflect on the tragic loss of that utopian promise we talked about earlier. Because Meta refused to build non-negotiable hardware-level guardrails into their glasses from day one, the world didn't meet wearable AI as an amazing tool for a blind person to confidently navigate a city. The world met it as a tool for creeps to covertly film ladies on the street. And in tech, just like in everyday life, first impressions are almost impossible to undo. Trust is a time series. You cannot magically fix a fundamentally broken relationship with the public by just throwing $135 billion in capital expenditure at the problem. You can't advertise trust, and you definitely cannot use Kylie Jenner to celebrity-endorse consent. You can only earn it through behavior that consistently demonstrates you actually deserve it. So I want to leave you with this final thought to ponder. Will Meta ever step up and build the non-negotiable architectural guardrails needed to actually earn back our trust? Or will a piece of technology that genuinely has the power to restore independence to the visually impaired be forever remembered by history simply as pervert glasses? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I hope this gives you a brand new perspective on the future of wearable tech.